presidential pick and just can't say it yet. And a lot of people are speculating as to why.
Yo, it's B Mills for days and Surreal Lewis. We're back.
Maybe that's why. Maybe he's going to make a big announcement today.
We're watching the Trump rally live in Florida. Let's get it.
But he might.
Let's go Trump.
And the fact that
Trump
Rubio
2024.
the crowd and the fact that he did
in 30 minutes.
Perhaps auditioning for.
I thought it was at 7.
I don't think you could go wrong with either one of those two guys, but this is obviously Trump's decision to make.
Yes, and there's others we should point out because we're not picking any sides. Rick is laying it out in a great repertorial way, as he always does.
I swore it was at 7.
Governor of North Dakota as well. Still on that short list. We've heard other names like Dr. Ben Carson. We shall see until the former president makes his pick, or announces his pick, I should say, because he's indicated that he's zeroed in on someone for a couple of weeks now, but just hasn't revealed it. A live look there at Trump National Golf Club there at Doral, Florida, because we're hearing about some golf courts that may be moving, and there may be 145, a former president on one of those golf courts. Rick, as we look at this live picture, something I want to get to. Did you want to make a quick point? Go ahead.
Dude, he's got a big crowd. I ain't never seen Biden have a crowd like that. Come on.
With President Trump.
That's right.
The next time you play golf with him, can you let him know that my show is on at 7 p.m. Eastern? This is the second rally in as many weeks, I think, or 3 weeks, that is at 7 p.m. So he's like he's stealing my thunder over here. But I'm pleased to be able to sit here and talk about it with you, and I can't wait to watch this rally.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Hey, the numbers are great when he speaks. So, you know what? It probably helps. Every little bit helps. We know that N2 is still growing. But we have a lot of people watching, particularly after that last debate, as people continue to find us on YouTube and Roku and other places. Real quick, in a minute or so before I officially hand it off, in case he doesn't walk out, I wanted to get your read on the
it's supposed to start at 7.
Because there are some conservatives unhappy that Donald Trump and his team have pulled officially from the platform a national ban on abortion. I suspect that what you'll hear from the former president when he's interviewed about it, maybe even at the rally stage, is that, look, the Democrats are going to demagogue this, Rick, and in the last 30 seconds we have, he wants to win this race and come up with a more moderate position.
Well, I think that's it in a nutshell, Ed. Moderate. Moving a little towards the middle on an issue that affects many people in this country. There are evangelicals who are going to be very upset about this. I know there are other conservative members of the party who don't like it. Ultimately, it's still potentially a state decision, but I think that's it in a nutshell, is that they realize that they kind of have to move with the times. And even though it's a very difficult subject to broach, and a lot of people have very strong opinions about it, maybe they just feel like this is the way to go. I don't know, but I'd be really curious to hear what Donald Trump has to say about that. The way to go. I don't know, but I'd be really curious to hear what Donald Trump has to say about that.
Yeah, and to your point, he's already said that the 3 justices of the court.
What is happening to Newsmax?
I'm watching
Put the power
a
back
different stream.
I'm going to officially hand it off to Rick. Stand by, Rick, for former president, and stand by the level.
Come on, switch over. This thing is glitching out right now. Hey, Will, who are you watching? Because this one is glitching, dude. Are you watching Benny?
Good afternoon here in sunny.
Are you watching Benny?
Yes, I'm watching Benny.
The report. If you're looking for the Donald Trump rally,
entire family, the first family, has seats at the front of the rally. Now, we have long speculated that perhaps
we're gonna watch Benny
this is
for a
where
while
Donald
until
Trump is going to announce
goes live.
His vice presidential
Cobra Cast
nominee. Here, ladies and gentlemen, are the seats of Barron Trump, Eric Trump, Don Jr.
By the way, if you don't know Benny, you better follow Benny. Benny is fucking awesome.
Marco Rubio's guests.
I don't like Benny.
Right? This is no guaranteed indication that he's going to pick Marco Rubio, but these are the front row seats for the rally in Miami. Marco Rubio, and presumably Marco Rubio would be taking the stage here, maybe in just a little bit. We'll see. This is the live shot right now of the Trump rally. Live shot right now of the Trump rally. They're just playing the tunes, playing the hits, ladies and gentlemen. There's some other breaking news here. Miami Dolphins quarterback will be a front row attendant at Donald Trump's rally. That's awesome. Okay, amazing. The rally already has some of the biggest names attending. Democrats should just forfeit the election at this point. Democrats have forfeited Florida. They forfeited the state. They've made that very plain. Democrats have forfeited this state completely. They're not playing here. So is this something that is going to effectively be the announcement? Is this going to be?
Benny's got
Trump
some
campaign
great
plays Elvis
analysis.
at Doral tonight. Okay, yes. The guy's got a playlist, man, and this is a very interesting shot, sort of like the entire mass of the crowd, right? And you can spin it around and see like the people going on.
He does have a big ass crowd. Come on.
Joe Biden could never. So we have some of the sights and sounds from the rally. Before
We should have went
Trump
to the
takes stage.
Virginia
As
one,
ever,
Will.
we will naturally
Hell no,
bring
that
you
shit was in Chesapeake.
live Donald Trump's
I was already
commentary.
at the river that
and
weekend.
more importantly, is Donald
I was
Trump
close.
announcing his vice presidential
Chesapeake is the
selection
opposite
tonight.
direction of your river.
I mean, we know. Let's just
What
put
do
the
you
data
mean?
together. We know for a fact
Our
that
river leads into the
Marco
Chesapeake
Rubio
Bay,
is in
dumbass.
contention. That Marco
You realize
Rubio is
how
somebody
big
who
the
Donald Trump
Chesapeake
is
Bay is,
seriously
bitch?
considering
I
as a
know,
VP.
but
No, I need to let me show you a
Finalist.
map.
no, it's
Yeah, we
closer
know
than what I
for a
would have
fact,
been
and
from at
We
home.
know this because the campaign is straight
The
up told us,
Chesapeake-
campaign spokespeople have told us.
No, it's not,
why they are
Brandon.
vetting Marco.
Oh my
and
God.
This is because of Marco.
Let me pull up a
You know,
map
obviously
for
strong
you.
I don't
connections
give
to
a
community
damn.
That Donald Trump is winning right now, which is the
Chesapeake,
Latino community. And there's 70 million
Brandon.
Latin voters.
I need to
in
show you a
America.
map.
No, I don't give a fuck.
Unlike Joe Biden,
yeah, you do.
they're the ones who vote Republicans are presumably legal, and this is something that is going to be a very, very big voting block, right, to win in the future. Marco Rubio, also a very powerful senator, sits on a lot of very powerful committees, and is a big-time fundraiser.
Benny,
right?
Benny
a
is
name that a lot
sold
of people know.
on Marco
Ran against Donald
Rubio
Trump in
for being the
2016.
goddamn
rather
vice
Been an
president.
ally of Donald Trump.
Like,
ever since.
that's just-
Marco Rubio's never gone like goofy
Marco Rubio
shit,
sucks.
right? Or been like,
Yeah, I
Donald
don't-
Trump's
I
a
don't
threat to
know
our
about
democracy,
him,
or
man.
called for his impeachment or any garbage like that. And so we'll see. We'll see tonight. Marco Rubio does have guests.
Marco Rubio
He will be
sucks.
in the audience tonight. And he's going to be speaking. I mean, you have to assume he's going to speak. I don't know, Alex. Do we have confirmation that Rubio will speak? We don't have any confirmation that Rubio will speak, but you'd have to assume. You'd have to assume. It wouldn't be the first time the two men have appeared on stage together. There are actually some interesting photos of Marco Rubio and Donald Trump on stage, looking happy together at events across Florida. The two get along, best of our knowledge. And Marco Rubio is also a friend of the show, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight. What has been happening at the event itself? We have Don Jr. and Eric Trump, who, of course, I mean, if you're looking for a bit of a ringer here, Donald Trump doesn't regularly stack his entire family in the front row of an event unless there's something big afoot. So we'll see. We'll see. Not trying to hype up something we don't know. We don't know. No one has confirmed to us that this will be Donald Trump's VP selection night, but that's what many are speculating, including but not limited to Donald Trump. This is an email that Trump sent out. This is an email that Trump sent out earlier today. Is right here. Will I announce my VP pick in 90 minutes? This is a official Donald Trump email. Will I announce my vice presidential pick in 90 minutes? The guy ran The Apprentice. So what else can you say? Right? The guy ran The Apprentice. So he
That's
knows
interesting.
how to
Will he
create
announce?
a lot of intrigue for his
No.
for the
I don't think he will either.
the final episode, right? He knows how to build up an audience. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have is that a photo of Rubio and Trump? This is Rubio and Trump. You may see this tonight. Here's Rubio and Trump at other events. Yep. Okay. So they're hanging out, talking, chatting. Donald Trump, tanned and ready. We'll see. Marco Rubio, obviously, like talking about how much he loves Trump. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Here's what we do know. We do know that Eric Trump was on stage just moments ago. Eric Trump, of course, is the manager, the the manager of all of Donald Trump's estates, including Doral. So he's got to be particularly happy about this showing, because it's an amazing showing at Trump Doral tonight. And here is what Eric Trump had to say. Again, of course, we will cut live back to the event when there's something other than, playlist playing. So here we go.
And I'll never forget, we came in, we bought it around 2011, and my father and myself and Don and Ivanka, we were down here as a family every single day. And we instilled pride in it, and we believed in it, and we fixed it, and we managed it properly. And it's become one of the greatest properties anywhere in the world. And that's so much like our country. You need to have people who actually want to be a cheerleader. You need to have people who actually care, actually have heart and soul. And that's what we did. And honestly, my father's the greatest fighter I've ever seen in my entire life. The hell... You know, guys, I sat in that courtroom every single day because I wanted to be by his side. And honestly, the corruption, I would have never guessed. If you could have zoomed back 8 years, I would have never believed that this was the United States legal system. I never would have thought that they could have fined somebody $500 million for doing absolutely nothing wrong, right? When they're letting out hardened criminals in New York as they run around McDonald's in Times Square and slash the hell out of people, you know, the entire DA is sitting there in the front row giggling and chuckling with the judge that's totally in their pocket. I would have never guessed this could have been the United States of America. And, you know, we've seen these in so many countries. I mean, how many Cubans do we have in the audience tonight?
Dang.
You've seen this movie before.
Got a lot of Cubans.
How many Venezuelans do we have here? Guys, you've seen this before. And I'm sitting there as a son. You know what's remarkable?
There's like two people
I've
like,
never seen a guy with more determination and
God.
perseverance. I'll never forget. They read out 34 bogus guilty felonies. Guilty, 34 times. He stands up with the exact same demeanor that I see him with at 5 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock at night. He turns around, he shakes my hand, we walk out, we go to a fundraiser where he starts fighting for the United States of America again. I'm so freaking proud of him. And believe me, guys, if I didn't stand on the stage, if I wasn't here right now, they wouldn't be hitting me. I'm probably the most subpoenaed person in the history of this country. 110 subpoenas, and I've never gotten so much as a traffic ticket. And the second he went down that aisle,
How many
subpoena after
subpoenas?
subpoena, because they just wanted to get to Donald Trump, and they wanted to get to him because we have a president right now who's freaking incompetent. Absolutely incompetent. This isn't the best of America. In fact, he's the worst of America. Look what's happening to our economy. Look what's happening to everything. But beyond that, look what's happening to our values in this country. Look what's happening to religion. Look what's happening to our Constitution. Free speech. The Ayatollah was on Twitter. Yet they threw Donald Trump off like a dog. He had to open up Truth Social, which, by the way, is doing awesome. I mean, can you imagine that? They threw the 45th president of the United States off because, you know, that's how weaponized the system is. And guys, they've weaponized every system. They weaponized the FBI. They weaponized the DOJ. They weaponized the media. They've weaponized education. Thank God for Loudoun County moms who came out and fought like hell. By the way, thank God for the moms.
Ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's a, it's a funny little ending clip there for Eric. We are going to. Oh man, are they playing Twisted Sister now? Okay, great. So we're gonna make sure that guys, let's make sure that we're getting like full. Let's get full speeches as best we can. So it's like a strange ending there. Poor Eric. I don't want to do Eric dirty. We love Eric. Eric's worked very closely with us, and Eric is also somebody who's we've already booked for a live interview at the RNC. We have endeavored to bring you all of the public Trump children. You got Eric and Don and Laura. There are some Trump children like Barron who are not doing any media clips. Well, we would love to do the Barron Trump exclusive. Barron Trump will be in the audience tonight. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Is this Elton John? What's going on here? This is Elton John. Okay. This is clearly Donald Trump's playlist. Yeah, ALX can speak to that. ALX was at dinner with Donald Trump, and he Alex did like an 8-hour dinner with Donald Trump, and Trump was running his playlist like the entire time. Alex, can you hold on? I'm bringing on Alex. Can you comment here on Donald Trump's playlist just really quickly?
One sec, let me mute this. Yeah. So he does love to play DJ, and I think there was a viral clip too, where Patrick Bet-David was talking to Barron about this, how Barron can hear it from his room when he plays it at dinner. And he's like, yeah, my dad won't turn down the music. He likes to play DJ for dinner guests, and yes, Elton John is on his playlist.
Okay, well, there we go. Everyone at Doral being treated to what seems like Donald Trump's favorite playlist, and then music videos also. We were just at Doral, so we kind of know exactly where this is, like right in front of the building. It is a massive property and an awesome property.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not even a huge golf guy, and I got to take a shot on the Blue Monster. So it wasn't a very beautiful shot. So it was fun though. And then the other thing he likes to do, it kind of reminds me of the behind the scenes from his Trump Force One videos. I think it's Jason Miller, and then Scavino always posts, like when they're on the way home from a rally, they're always listening to like music videos and stuff, and he has it up on the TV. So that's probably what he plays, is like stuff like that on his plane as well.
Scavino posts a lot of music videos.
Yes, I've noticed that late at night too.
Yes. Scavino posted a like really awesome Donald Trump ad today.
Again, we're just watching the Benny show until it starts. It should start any minute.
Which is wild.
The other stream was super glitchy.
It's a relatively
hopefully
long
Budney
ad,
doesn't kick me off.
Really moving, and it's very,
Sorry,
very
I gotta stream you, bro, but I love
if you.
you.
Don't follow Dan Scavino, you absolutely should. What do you expect tonight here? What do you expect tonight here, Alex?
I don't know. It seems primed to be a VP announcement. I don't know. He might be trolling us all. But yeah, it kind of caught me off guard last night on Hannity when he was saying, "Oh, I haven't picked my VP yet. I want to pick it at the convention, but my team's not letting me." All of that type of stuff gave me the indication that he would like to pick it closer to the convention, or even on stage at the convention. So kind of threw me off a little, but seeing all these indicating signs with like Rubio's family being in attendance and his entire family being in attendance, and it being a Trump property, it very well could be a VP announcement, or he could be trolling us all. Who knows?
Could be trolling us all. This is the live shot of the event. Marco Rubio did speak. This was a correction that I need to make. Marco Rubio has spoken at this event, and we are getting his full speech locked and loaded for you right now. Klein, why don't we grab and load up that small clip that we have of him roasting Kamala Harris? Oh, okay. We're ready to go? Yeah. Okay, so we'll get Marco Rubio's full speech for you. Some people in the audience like Marco, but in this audience, we poll them often, ALX. Who are the favorites regularly?
So when Vivek is on the list, it's usually Vivek. Him and Tucker were pretty close initially when we were pulling them both. But recently, we've had Ben Carson on the list, and he's been doing well. I forgot what our last one was. I think JD Vance might have surprised us a little. But it really depends on who's on the list. The one that I've seen consistently not perform is Doug Burgum. And that's been my indication as well, because I held a poll a couple of weekends ago on X, and he got like 9% or something like that. It was like something very low. And then Vivek was on mine. He got like 60%. But yeah, pretty much I'm seeing JD Vance like one of the favorites that's actually on the short list or a supposed short list, and then Ben Carson, which I've seen him in and out of short lists. So
yeah, Ben. I mean, it's interesting. Like you listen to Trump and his comments on the VP, and he said back in the wintertime when he was still going through the primaries that he knows who his VP is going to be, and it's not going to shock anybody. And it's going to be somebody who everybody knows. So presumably that would exclude like a Vivek, and would almost like would almost push people towards like a Tucker Carlson,
Yeah.
a name, of course, that everybody knows and that everyone's familiar with. But we haven't seen Tucker's name floated in quite a while.
I know the last time I think was at that crypto event at Mar-a-Lago where the guy with the goggles, as he said, shouted it out. Which I love when Trump does that. He polls the audience. Well, that's what he kind of did when he said he had it in his head at that rally a couple weekends ago. When he said that he had it in his head, he then asked everyone around. He's like, "Well, who do you like? Who do you like?" And I was still hearing some Tuckers in the crowd then.
Last night, he said he wants somebody dynamic and somebody who can win on Sean Hannity. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that he's changed his calculus based on a Biden dropout, which is so interesting. They're like it's a very interesting game of chicken that these two freight cars are playing right now on the train tracks. Because it's like, will Biden drop out? Biden's not signaling he's going to drop out. Trump's saying that might change. If Kamala is the candidate, then that does change the calculus, right? A little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just a different race. It's just like a different race.
We're all talking about a debate between like Kamala and Vivek, or Kamala and. Imagine a debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Oof. That would be internet gold.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, I don't know how we'd handle that.
Just let's rock through some of the quick polling numbers, because it wouldn't be pretty if there was another debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But yet, Joe Biden saying he wants another debate. ALX. Joe Biden said this weekend, this SOB. He said this is salty, crusty old SOB. He said, I'll debate Donald Trump if he thinks he can make it through, or something like that this weekend. He's still taunting Donald Trump. I don't know if you've ever seen Monty Python, the Holy Grail, and he's like the knight that's had like all of his arms cut off. It's like, it's merely flesh wound. Flesh wound.
I don't understand how he does that. And then like again, when he challenged Trump to golf on the debate stage, like Trump would demolish him at golf. He needs to take him up on that. Trump really needs to take him up on that. That would be entertaining.
Bro, do it for charity.
Oh yeah,
do it for charity. This is the Real Clear Politics average right now. You can see that Joe Biden is trending horribly, and that Donald Trump is just trending great. Obviously, this is not something to hang your hat on. There are a lot of shenanigans, as we call them, that can happen. We see, of course, Democrats are fighting like screaming
Biden
demons
to keep Trump in polls.
citizen verification.
I don't think he was
hitting. From being
the whole shit was rigged.
They are fighting to ensure that there are.
Yeah, but if it's a rigged poll
and unmanned drop
and
boxes,
Trump's ahead by 10
America,
points,
as many as you can possibly get, and unlimited mail-in ballots,
as
many as you can get, because really it's an algorithm for the machine to go.
Yeah, I think it's too far gone. Like they can't rig it this time.
In order to create ballots, and then they have the machine ready to harvest those ballots. Right? This is something Republicans are literally 100 years behind Democrats on this stuff, and it's very bad.
Yeah,
and it's something. It's why you shouldn't be cocky about stuff like this. And it's why it's important to cover these rallies. Although I will say, I saw some polling out today. Maybe we can grab it, Robbie. I saw some polling out today that said that Kamala is doing worse than Biden against Trump. There was this sort of like this fake news cycle that Kamala was going to come roaring in, and like she was the white knight that was going to save the Democrats, and that is not true. We've never seen that. And there was polling out today that indicated that Kamala would do worse against Trump. I think it's the swing states, ALX, that kind of like...
Maybe it's because
nobody wants Kamala in swing states.
Oh, yeah. The only people that would vote for Kamala are, people...
Oh, they're talking about Kamala.
And then, like, she couldn't
like, maybe she's worse because Democrats don't like black people.
Primary
not anymore, at least.
Or 2020.
Not after this. This 4 years.
Like,
God damn, nobody likes them.
And
they elected an old white dude.
Together. That's the thing. People were saying that like she was a DEI president, and like that was a hit piece. But like, go back and look at all of the headlines when Joe Biden was making his pick. Everyone in the media was saying, "Will you pick a woman? Will you pick a woman of color? Will you pick this?" Right. That was his first contingency. And he said yes to it. And then from there, just like his Supreme Court justice, then from there, he went to a person that fit that qualification. and people were calling it racist that they were saying, oh, she would be our first DEI president. That's exactly the definition of that. When you make those the qualifiers, then it's automatically excluding people that aren't that race or aren't that gender. So yes, that would be true, but everyone was calling that racist. I don't know, but like the thing is, it's like Joe Biden can't put together 2 sentences, but Kamala Harris only has 1 sentence, and she just uses it over and over in every speech. So, and like she's not.
She just uses it over and over.
So could you imagine speeches with her? She needs a teleprompter for different reasons, but like I could not imagine her fielding like actual questions from the press as president.
Are you, hey Alex, you and I've worked together for many years. Are you unencumbered by what has been? This is a question I've never asked you. Are you unburdened?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you, and you have to point backwards when you do it. Are you unburdened by what has been? Remember, the point backwards is what's most important.
And I've fallen out of a coconut tree. Yeah.
I hate Benny Jones.
You are, and you can see, like, it's so, that coconut tree line is so funny because she's like, you can tell she knows it didn't hit. And so she like bursts into her own awkward, creepy Joker.
Part of me thinks like he's faking everything.
Like Joker. So
no, man.
Is if the
everybody needs that little cringe in their life every now and then.
With the crazy hyena from Lion King, but it's the hyena.
His is always
whose eyes don't go the right way. Who's like
the way he
like
his
hyena.
Mouth moves makes it seem like
a
he's
mentally handicapped hyena. And they
faking
had a
it.
child.
I have nothing bad to say about Benny.
But anyway, you can tell her.
I don't think he's that bad.
It's so painful because you can tell her joke didn't hit. She knows it.
He gives it to you the way he is, with a little bit of funny and cringe.
You exist in the context of everything that is unburdened. She keeps going.
And Cobra Cast is good too.
And again,
they're all good as long as they tell you what's up.
I mean, cognitive impairment.
Bro, this peanut, there's 3 of them.
She's not old, so that's her at full speed.
That's her at full speed. We hear that they're getting the stadium, the stage set here, and they've stopped with the music videos. Speaking of Kamala Harris, though we don't see any direct.
Let's go, Trump! Come on, get your ass out there, big dog.
For Donald Trump, there's music still playing, people coming in. So, since we're
Jay
talking about Kamala, we might as well play what Marco Rubio had to say about Kamala a few moments ago from the stage here in Doral.
Thanks, fella.
Here's the problem. The replacement, Joe Biden is the figurehead of a left-wing government, shadow
pull up
government.
my stream, or either I'll share my screen.
Is actually a real-life, verified left-winger, whose policies are if I had a list on me today, maybe I have a list on me today.
Make
of
sure
all the
your mic's away from your speaker.
This list actually goes much longer.
I'm gonna
of all
play
the
it on my
crazy
phone, so
left-wing policies that they want for our country,
sometimes it gets loud and
she
they'll come
supported
through.
every single one of them.
So Marco Rubio brings a very interesting energy to the,
Marco
brings like a
Rubio's
different,
such a sellout.
I know,
very
man.
senatorial energy to this. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a lot of there's video and footage of him and Trump, kind of getting along, right? I'll never be able to forget the Trump water bottle situation with Marco Rubio. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Trump trolling with the water bottle. I'll never be able to get that out. But the two have gotten along. Am I correct? The two have gotten along since then? Since the primary?
Since then, yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like people forget that him and Ted Cruz had a beef, and that Ted Cruz had a VP candidate picked when he was mathematically eliminated from being the nominee, and now like they're best of friends. And Cruz is one of the staunchest defenders of Donald Trump. So back then it was a different world, and obviously
Jared, I can hear it through your speaker.
I know, just for a second, it was just volume was all the way up.
I mean, I don't think any relationship is.
That shit was loud as fuck. He said,
And they have gone on recently, so
"Oh shit."
yeah, as you can see, he's like spoken at rallies and stuff in the past. So, who knows? He could be.
We'll see. We will see. Of course, we will see when Donald Trump takes the stage. Florida welcomes President Trump.
Come on,
Says
Trump.
the sign. Florida
He's
does welcome
always
President
late.
Trump. Biden has dropped out here.
Come
Effectively,
on, people.
Biden, who, you know, talk about quitting the race. The entire Biden team has said they quit Florida. It is unwinnable.
Damn. Unwinnable.
Pretty shocking because this was this was a swing state like a few years ago. So
Yeah, now it's pretty much solid red. But that's the thing. Like in both elections in Hillary and then against Biden, he's made gains in like Latino communities, Miami-Dade, and that was a real shock.
I feel
to
like
them.
Trump's
So
late on purpose
It's
because
pretty
like, don't tell
funny
me
to
what
see
to do.
them basically give up there.
He's always late. He's always
Yeah.
15 to 30 minutes late to each rally.
Creating some,
Yeah.
Yeah.
some of the classic Donald Trump Rubio water bottle trolling. Do we have the actual clip? We're gonna show everybody. People are like, Benny, people say that I am attempting to. Do we have the actual clip here? No, this is just an image. This you may recall.
Uh-oh. I'll drop something.
Donald Trump trolled Marco Rubio for, I think it was drinking too much water during one
So
of the
it was the state of that, and then like the State of the Union he gave like one of the responses, and
yeah,
like
that's right.
like
That's
backed
right.
up, and he went like this, and then he like it was just like
That's
the weirdest
right.
sip of water. But then yeah, during the debate he was making comments about it too. He's like, "Oh, take a sip of water or whatever."
There you go. A classic. A classic. Who doesn't love a classic? Okay, so there's been a classic Donald
Benny
Trump.
pisses
as we
me
await
off.
Donald Trump. One of the songs we may not hear in
Classic. A classic.
Donald Trump
Everybody loves a classic.
John and James Brown and AC/DC is Wiz Khalifa, but that's what this was cut to, and Donald Trump loved it so much he played it. He posted it on Truth
is
Social.
annoying.
We thought this was an inspirational and beautiful.
I just heard
ad.
this is a stream.
I hope they run this on. I hope they run this on TV
What'd you just say?
across the.
I just
across
heard him
the
say it through the
nation
stream.
because Wiz Khalifa's old girlfriend Amber Rose is
Oh,
speaking
you
at
need to
the
watch
RNC convention.
Benny's stream
right?
so you're caught up.
Hey, it's a small world. Okay, so here we go. This is our new favorite Trump ad.
2024, it's our final battle. We're either going to have a country greater than ever before.
Are we about to see Paul Walker die?
Yo, what the fuck is going on?
We ready? We're ready.
Is Trump about to hit a tree? Going
Yo, this is not
hundreds of miles per hour?
not a good song for you to play, Trump.
This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right.
I mean, damn right. Hell yeah, brother. But goddamn,
Come on, man.
that's a scary
One,
song to play right there.
The Donald Trump dance moves
You got the
works
American
great,
flag shirt on, dude?
to a rap beat, and then two.
She said, "Hell yeah."
I
Hell
love the
yeah.
inspirational message here. You know, it's like that's what they should run with this. I love when the soul of a campaign is inspirational.
Just
And not like
him.
doom and gloom and anger and sadness and bitterness and Project 2025. Is Project 2025 in the room with you right now?
I can't watch
You
this
seeing this
anymore,
freak
Brennan.
out?
Every other post, it's either Project 2025 or abortion.
Bang.
That's like if you scroll the like
He only knows
or
Brandon's
Joe
is the screen.
Biden or Kamala Harris, especially, it's either abortion, Project 2025, or Trump's a dictator. Like
He
that's
starts
their entire
smiling.
campaign.
They said there are too many people
and they
waving
all-
at me.
Up until today, too. Like even this morning, they're like, Donald Trump
Going
hasn't
to
been
bed, boy.
seen in 10 days. I'm like, he's
I'll be
literally
back.
holding around
Alright.
today. So, yeah.
Just pure positivity. Another, yeah, you're right. And like, this is what, like the bitterness and the anger, and I think some of the seething, it only gets you so far. So this is Margot Martin, ALX. Margot Martin, I think, posted a photo with ALX a couple of days ago. because ALX was flossing the Trump sneakers. But look at the background. So these are the people who work for Donald Trump, right? We know the people who work for Joe Biden. We can't show you their photos, actually, because this is a family feed. We can't show you their photo. We have to blur out too much to show you what happens with Joe Biden. Look at the positivity here. This is like the background. You won't find a happier group of cops like in the world than when the NYPD got to pose with the, I believe this is the FDNY, also firefighters and cops posing together with Donald Trump. Dude.
Yep. Based.
And there's actually, everywhere Trump goes, there's a photo like this, isn't it?
I accidentally hit the control button.
There's like a bunch of cops that like grinning ear to ear.
The search thing came up.
They're signing the gold shoes for cops on the tarmac. I remember that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yes, that was in Philadelphia.
Yep.
Come on, Ashley. Ashley knows it. It's in Philadelphia. Ashley, grab me that clip. Look at your boy.
Oh, there it is. The gold shoes. Let's go.
Look at your boy. ALX. Dude, now ALX is very tall, okay? So you come to the RNC convention, you'll meet ALX. We'll be rolling through the RNC convention. We'll be there, Milwaukee all week next week. You'll meet ALX. You'll be like, wow, you're tall, Same thing with Vivek. Everybody meets Vivek, and they're like, dude, you're tall. Vivek's like 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah.
Margot Martin's really tall. She looks damn near as tall as you in this photo, ALX.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I was getting like comments. They're like, "Oh, you need to grow a little, brother." And then they're like, "Oh, she's taller than you." And I'm like, This is the first time I've been almost height mogged in a picture.
I was wondering what that was.
It was by Margot.
All right, ALX tagged the Daily Mail because they're obsessed with Margot Martin.
They are obsessed with Margot. Well, the thing is, and we were talking about this in person. She didn't even see this, but like I post my Imagine Eating This Goods. So they sniped her eating a sandwich, and this was during the Trump trial. So she was like, it was during the break, and she went into some sandwich shop, and she was eating a sandwich, and they sniped her from outside. I'm in your walls, boy. Through the window.
I can see
like everything. And I said, "Oh, I envy the day where like the Daily Mail starts covering like that I go out for lunch as like national news." And then she texted me. She's like, "I didn't see this until he posted it." She's like, "This is so creepy."
Come on, Trump. Where are you, bro?
World we live in today, right?
Yeah.
Insatiable. Somebody who's been on the program, and I see is loaded here, somebody who spoke at the rally, is Congresswoman Salazar, who I believe she told us she is the only Republican that represents a like dark blue urban area in the country. And hold, please, ladies and gentlemen, as we note the zoom in here. However, you can sort of see in the vibe of the audience that
we zoom back out.
Donald Trump is taking the stage or anything like that.
I think they're just getting their camera tested.
He said he's not coming out to play today.
The other thing is, we are set and ready with a super high quality.
What the fuck are those umbrella things removed in the background? What the fuck is that?
Problem. So we are set and ready to go with extremely high quality audio for this broadcast when Donald Trump does start speaking. Right now, there's no one speaking, and there's just music playing, and so of course we will cut directly to.
I'm gonna hit Trump with the laugh track, dude.
Congresswoman Salazar is you know what? A spicy meatball. She was going flames on
like
our
roast
show.
Biden and hit him with
barely like stay in her seat. Let's hear what she had to say at this rally.
He wouldn't even make it on the stage.
This is from earlier today.
Those are at least what,
from
5 stairs?
Congresswoman Salazar letting her rip in her very close to her home congressional district. Let's go.
You left behind not too long ago your family, your culture, your language, your home, with the dream of finding new opportunity in this beautiful country called the United States of America. You came here, my parents came here with the belief that in America, everything is possible if you work hard and you play by the rules. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you're Venezuelan, if you're Cuban, if you're Colombian, if you're Dominican, if you are Puerto Ricans, I'm sure that all of you are represented in this rally. We the people, every one of us, can achieve the American dream. But today, unfortunately, a dark force has infiltrated this very sacred place, the United States. The dark cloud that we all know too well, many of you know too well.
I'm about to say, I don't know what happened to you.
Because we are a community of exiles, starting with my parents who came from Cuba 60 years ago. This dark cloud called socialism. An ideology that unfortunately today has many faces. God has been eliminated from the public life. Many schools don't want you to know what your children are learning. The difference between male and female is blurry and is not clear. And the traditional values that this country was founded on are repudiated by many on the left. Something is wrong with this picture. So that's why this November 5th, this election will be crucial. We Republicans, we are not perfect, but we are not socialists. So that is why today I am calling, and I would like to send a message through the news media that is watching us. I want to send a message to the Hispanic community. I would like to send a message to the Hispanic community across the country. You are welcomed in the Republican Party. We have...
Dude, nobody likes dirty communists, and I'm a firm believer that Hispanics don't actually vote Democrat, and that if those votes do, if those votes do exist, then there's harvesting. And oh, Benny, wait, what a crazy allegation! How could you possibly say that? There's a woman who pled guilty to federal charges inside of a virtually 100% Hispanic community in Arizona to illegal ballot harvesting. All she did was she literally went and took people's ballots and then filled them all out, and it's on tape. It's all on tape. She filled out dozens of ballots for people, and who knows how long this operation's been going on, right? Her name's Guillermina Fuentes. I even know the lady's name. She's 63 years old. She pled guilty to federal ballot harvesting and illegally. Here's what she did. She went through the trailer parks and went through the working class apartment buildings, grabbed ballots, either with or without permission, and then stood there in front of the voting area and filled out all the ballots. And what else did this lady do? She was also the former mayor of the town. She was like an elected official. So how prescient is this issue? Like that. Also, some major election fraud stuff out of Texas. They just overturned an election in a small border town. You're starting to see this happening in border towns as Democrats ramp up their machine, as they get more desperate. So this is, of course, all the more reason, we're pushing the SAVE Act, and we, our great booker and producer on this program, Bobby, booked us. Chip Roy and Mike Lee.
I could hear shit. I could hear shit.
Such an important piece of legislation. Of course, Joe Biden is
Jared, what did you do?
Joe Biden doesn't even know.
What are you playing, Rocket League?
But his staff are having panic attacks.
I'm hopping on.
Yeah, saying that it's already illegal for illegal immigrants to vote.
Since Trump decided to just not show up.
So it's already illegal for illegal immigrants to be here, yet they're here and not deported. So yeah, all the more reason why we would need the SAVE Act.
Yes. So who exactly is in charge? Donald Trump last night, and again, let's just pop up on stage here, ladies and gentlemen, the live shot of the event. Here it is. There is no speech yet. Of course, we have our entire producer team on staff, ready to go, ready to rock, and we will not miss a second of this rally. But there is, we just want to show you're not missing anything either. This is just the rally right now. People are waiting, right, and listening to music. So Donald Trump has made a single media appearance. One media appearance. This was last night. We have just let's just play some important takeaways, all right, from this media appearance last night. Donald Trump talking about who's actually in charge. To ALX's point, like who's actually in charge here? Like what's actually happening? Donald Trump on Jill and Hunter Biden and the elder abuse that they are committing. Let's go.
Did they purposely cover for him, in your view?
Well, they cover for him, and they still are sort of covering, but now it's getting very difficult to do that. And, you know, it looks to me like he may very well stay in. He's got an ego, and he doesn't want to quit. He doesn't want to do that. It just looks to me like that's what he wants. I think Jill would like to see him stay. She's having a good time. I notice she really seems to be having a good time, and I'm hearing that Hunter is calling the shots. So this isn't necessarily a very positive thing for our country. But I think he, you know, might very well stay in, and if he does, nobody wants to give that up that way. He's going to feel badly about himself for a long time. It's hard to give it up that way, the way where they're trying to force him out. So, I mean, you really have to speak to his doctors, but obviously he's been sheltered by the fake news media. That's why they call it the fake news.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump saying that Jill is enjoying herself. Just way too much. You got to agree with that one.
Yeah, right? I can tell he's looking at all the online chatter, and people are like, "Oh, Trump has been gone for 10 days." Yeah, he's sitting back and enjoying the show right now, because that's what everyone is saying. They're like, and you know, not only people memeing it, but corporate media, like the New York Times story where they're saying that Hunter is, you know, his closest advisor and quote unquote gatekeeper, and that Jill Biden is one of the ones still pushing him. And that's what everyone has been memeing about and saying all along. I think it was Tucker who said that she's in it for the parties. She likes partying and going to all these state dinners and everything. So Trump is very, you know, hand and finger on the pulse, listening to all of this discussion. He's just laying back and listening to all of it over the past week. And,
anytime.
I think that's actually what's happening.
Come on, Trump.
Jill is in charge, and you know that was quite evident yesterday, where she's on a tour in 3 different states while Joe Biden's doing nothing.
Yes, we were very close. We are going to do this. We found out too late that Jill Biden was going to be not terribly far. She's going to be in the same city, you know, as us. We'll do this at the DNC convention, okay? We plan on doing a lot of trolling at the DNC convention. It's called We Do a Little Trolling. We want to stand outside of Jill Biden events, and we want to like stand out there with clipboards like those annoying libs do and get signatures against elder abuse, right? From the people going in and out of the events. And then we want to get like a big sign, right? It says Jill Biden, lock her up. Jill Biden commits elder abuse. We should get people to sound off on that, because clearly Joe Biden is handicapped, and this is a really mean thing to do to a handicapped person. Donald Trump talking about Joe Biden's handicap at the debate on Donald Trump's only interview that he's done since the debate. Here's what Donald Trump had to say about a deeply broken Joe Biden.
Minutes, I could tell this was not going to be a good night for Joe Biden. What was going through your head at that time?
Well, it was a big evening, and you could feel a lot of energy. Boy, energy like you haven't felt in a long time. On any of the debates, I've done a lot of debates, and we've had great success with debates, but this was something very special. For whatever reason, it just seemed big. And when I got to Atlanta, and this was at CNN headquarters, there was a lot of excitement. There were trucks. I call them the $10 million trucks. That's with the antennas all over, and very incredible equipment. I'm looking at things that are, it's just more of a scene than it normally would be. And it really was that way right from the start, right from the moment they introduced us, and then they introduced him and introduced me, and I walked out and I saw him, and he looked extremely pale, to put it nicely. And I don't know, maybe it was a good makeup job or maybe it wasn't, but he was a very pale-looking man. And when he started to speak, I don't know, I thought his voice was weak. I didn't know exactly what was happening. It was strange. I do have to say that the CNN, Jake and Dana, were really, they were pretty good. I thought they were fair. I thought they were fair in the questions, I thought, to me. But it was a strange evening. I will tell you, it was a strange debate, because within a couple of minutes, the answers given by him they didn't make a lot of sense.
Donald Trump did one mogging where he says, I don't know what he just said, and he doesn't know what he just said.
Yeah.
It'll go down as a classic.
Mic drop. That was a mic drop moment.
Do you think he'll go? I mean, Donald Trump has, since then, I think Donald Trump wanted to play nice. I mean, clearly Trump was like not wanting to commit his own elder abuse crime on stage. The Babylon Bee headline was Donald Trump indicted again for murdering old man on stage. But I think that Trump was pulling his punches, and then Donald Trump, in a golf cart interview that I think was leaked and or surreptitiously recorded, called Joe Biden an old broken down pile of crap.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like I saw a couple, I think it was Jasmine Crockett who gave an interview beforehand. And like, oh, he's going to be calling him names all night on the stage. I'm pretty sure the only name calling that happened was from Biden to Trump.
That's right.
Trump was really reserved. And you know, he had his little mic drop moments, but they were, you know, they were more subtle than like the flames on savage Trump. But
yes.
Yeah, Biden was like, you're a loser, you're a sucker, you're blah blah. Like he was the one like shit.
That's right.
This time, so
that's right.
Yeah.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at here is a live shot happening right now. When the president takes the stage, we will go right to him with crisp and loud audio, we promise you. But Donald Trump has not taken the stage yet. His children have taken the stage. Marco Rubio has taken the stage. Some members of Congress have taken the stage. The last time we saw Donald Trump on a stage live, he was staring at Joe Biden going like this. Joe Biden going like this. Donald Trump talked about last night about what that was like and what he thinks about that stare. Here's what he had to say.
Well, let me ask you this. I think some of the worst moments for President Biden were when he wasn't talking. There was like this blank, vacant stare, and it's like he was checked out. And I've run a montage of it. When you were speaking and you'd look over, did you notice that too, or?
You know, I was thinking about what I was saying. I wasn't looking over at him almost at all, except when he went a little bit haywire. I didn't look at him at all. And I'm very disappointed in him. He's the worst president in the history of our country. We've never had anything like it. What he's done to our borders, what he's done to our country, inflation, the people that he's hurting. He's destroying Social Security. And people are, you know, I'm just so upset with him as president. And so I wasn't really looking over. I purposely wasn't. And I did take a couple of peeks when he was in the midst of giving some really bad answers. They weren't even answers. They were just words put together that had no meaning or sense.
Well,
but for the most part, I didn't really look over.
I got a couple peeks, he says. Yeah.
Until he went a little haywire. I like that part.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we await Donald Trump here. Once again, you are looking at a live shot of Trump Doral at an event where Donald Trump will be taking the stage soon. There's a great anticipation because presumably, I mean, Donald Trump is literally time limited at this point for announcing his VP selection. He's like, because the campaign is now selling tickets to donor events that include the vice president. And that will start next week. So is Donald Trump prepping for a vice presidential announcement tonight? The reason why we would only speculate this is obviously not to, you know, try and hype something that isn't bound to happen. This has to happen in the next few days. It has to, right? And then two, you know, this is an event that has all of Donald Trump's family at it, has a bunch of very powerful people at it, has NFL stars at it, and so on. And so maybe this is the night. You don't know. But that's what we know right now. We also know that some guy who's a finalist, whatever that means, you know, according to whichever
what's going on here
today, but who tends to be in the final listing, Rubio, is in attendance with his family as well. So
yeah, and I think it would make a lot more sense here than it.
Yeah, I'm streaming. I'm streaming the event. I got them muted because they're playing Rocket League.
The stretch they were kind of making is kind of like home for JD Vance because it's like, you know, not that far from Ohio, and you know, here there's a ton, like we've already said, the family.
Am I muted?
it's a Trump property.
You're about to be if you're going to play Rocket League.
His home state, and he's here with his
I just got on this.
So
I was gonna just get on and try to just
would
like
make the most sense.
just mess with you because I figured you'd be
Saturday's
streaming it,
rally.
but
So
yeah.
I don't. If he
Glad I
doesn't
didn't do
announce
anything too bad.
tonight, I
It
don't
hadn't
see
even
him
started
announcing
yet.
Saturdays, but that's
Oh, it started at
just-
7.
just me.
It was supposed to.
We'll see.
We're still waiting on
We'll
Trump.
see. So here's what Laura Trump had to say about the vice presidential selection and what to watch. We've heard from Don Jr. We've heard from Eric Trump tonight. We have not
It
heard from
should
Laura.
start
She was
any
on
minute,
TV,
but goddamn.
just a few hours ago, talking about what Donald Trump's VP selection process looks like and when you're going to hear it. She is the RNC co-chair, so and of course Donald Trump's daughter-in-law. So you have to assume that she knows what she knows, and here's what she had to say.
I know that he's going to be down at Doral, down in Miami, for this rally later today, and he's asking Marco Rubio to join him, or Marco Rubio probably volunteered to join him, wants to be down there to support Donald Trump. Is that an indication that he will be the VP choice?
I would tell everybody, tune into the rally at Doral. Tune into the rally this weekend as well in Butler, Pennsylvania. Maybe you will get some hints there. What I can confirm is that we do have a slot for the VP nominee alongside Donald Trump to speak before he does, in the days before Donald Trump does, at our convention here in Milwaukee next week. So, look, as Donald Trump always does, he is ever the showman. He will keep everyone waiting, but he may give you some hints over the course of the next week. So pay attention, stay tuned, and I would say tune into those rallies.
Let me clarify. Let me make sure I got this. Whoever the VP is going to be, they're going to speak before Donald Trump at the convention on Monday?
They will be speaking in one of the days leading up to Donald Trump's acceptance of our party's nomination. That will come on Thursday, but they will be in the days before.
Will J.D. Vance, will Marco Rubio, will Tim Scott, will Youngkin speak? If we just keep checking the boxes.
You'll have to stay tuned, Ainsley. You'll have to come check out our convention. It'll be exciting, I promise.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now we see a bunch of people standing up. Okay, hold
Here
on.
we go,
Is this
here
the time?
we go.
Oh, is he coming in a golf
Here
cart?
we go.
No way.
Cool. Here we go.
No way. Here we go.
He's pulling up
This
in a
is
golf
live,
cart.
Of course. Donald Trump rolling up in the golf cart? No freaking
Holy
way.
shit.
Yes. Yes. We were on those golf carts, ALX.
That's a bad motherfucker right there,
those
man.
golf carts.
Golf cart number 1.
There we go.
Hold on.
Okay,
I need another beer.
Donald Trump rolling up the golf carts. I have to assume the cameras are zoomed in. People are screaming and waving. You gotta assume this is Trump. Baby, we got our Donald Trump walkout music.
Oh, we did.
We rolling.
Hope you did.
It's got to be Trump. I don't know which. Is that him right there? I don't know. A lot of. I've looked at all these carts. A lot of them look like it. Here, let's make them big. Come on. Let's go. Okay, you can see it there. You can see them like lining up. Let's go. I mean, that looks like Secret Service right there. It looks like a Secret Service dude. And you can see the Secret Service getting... Don't go...
It's because it's fucking locked me on my DMV account.
You can see the Secret Service standing there.
My fucking... whatever it's called. My sticker
Secret
is
Service
out of
just took
date
their
on one
positions
of my
by the stage,
motorcycles.
which is
And they
always
didn't
an
fucking
indicator.
tell me. I know I'm not going to pay attention to that shit. Now I'm locked out of my account because apparently I got my password wrong. And I'm like, how do I have a password to the DMV?
People got their phones up. People are cheering. So awesome. Still rolling up with the golf carts. So epic, a golf cart entrance. On brand, that's exactly right. You see a couple of photographers or police officers, maybe? All right. again, people are waving, people are taking photos. Very cool entrance. Maybe that was just the security team? You got people pointing? Ah, there you go! Trump in, that's Trump's SUV. It's gotta be. Is that his Secret Service SUV? I think that's it, boys. So Donald Trump forced to take his SUV by the Secret Service, flanked by golf carts. That's so on brand. It's the shot, ladies and gentlemen. It just got blurry for a second. Not us. Just the shot. This has got to be it. Okay. Okay. So that was an epic entrance. It looked like Trump's SUV. We'll see what happens next. Obviously, the crowd's going wild. Everybody's watching the walk-in stage. So we await. We've got to be. We're almost 100% positive we just witnessed Trump's arrival.
Yeah, I think so. Well, he does like pictures and stuff sometimes. So that could be what that is, maybe behind the stage.
Okay. Trump does take what they call snaps, right? Where they're photographs that you take with Donald Trump in a like tented area, and it's donors and senators and members of Congress and stuff. They get their photos. Maybe Donald Trump's meeting with the VP and gonna walk out with the VP. We don't know. We're not sure.
They're zooming back in. What do we got?
Zooming back in.
Service.
Watch for a lot of cell phones out. A lot of cell phones out. Here we go, baby. There we go. All right. There's the man.
Let's go.
There we go. You see him there. Donald Trump. Rocking and rolling. There he is. No tie, Trump. Nice. Rocking. Rested, ready. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump. Ready to go. Doing his dance. Got the MAGA fit, got the hat on. Here we go. Got the Never Surrender poster in the back. There he is.
I'm so excited for this. Let's fucking go.
Here we go, baby. All right, rock and roll. Let's do it. Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Just a second. Feed is catching up. Feed is catching up. Here we go. Music off. Let's go. Up. Okay. Don't hear anything. Let's go.
Tall, beautiful hole, isn't it? Look at that lake. Isn't it beautiful?
Here we go. Here we go.
One of the greatest golf courses on earth, and we really want to thank all of the tens of thousands of people that showed up. This is a lot of people. This is a lot of people. As the world can see, we are under the leadership. The Republican Party is bigger, stronger, more vibrant, and more united than ever, ever, ever before. Every day we are welcoming more Americans to our ranks, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, young people, old people, union members, non-union members. Basically, everyone is joining our movement because it's a movement of common sense. It's common sense. Whatever happened to common sense in government? We've got it. We've got more than anybody's ever had. Meanwhile, the radical left Democrat Party is divided in chaos and having a full-scale breakdown, all because they can't decide which of their candidates is more unfit to be president, sleepy, crooked Joe Biden or laughing Kamala. Laughing Kamala. As you know, in our recent debate, and in honor of all of you, I dealt Joe Biden, even according to the fake news media, the most decisive and overwhelming defeat in the history of presidential debates. I think so, right? I think so. And that was a big crowd that was watching. That was one of the highest rated shows ever on television. So I'm honored to be a part of it. I don't think he's too happy, but, you know, I like being a part of it. But even CNN said as I walked off the stage that it was one of the greatest performances they've ever seen. But it was sort of easy, if you want to know the truth. Our victory was so absolute that Joe's own party now wants him to throw in the towel and surrender the presidency after a single 90-minute performance. They want Crooked Joe out of the race. It's a shame the way they're treating him. But don't feel sorry for him. He's a very bad guy. He weaponized government. Remember that. He's a very bad guy. Don't feel sorry for him. So tonight I'm officially offering Joe the chance to redeem himself in front of the entire world. So Marco and Byron and everybody, here's what we're going to do. You guys can be referees if you like. Let's do another debate this week so that Sleepy Joe Biden can prove to everyone all over the world that he has what it takes to be president. But this time it will be man-to-man, no moderators, no holes barred. Just name the place, anytime, anywhere. And in the debate, Sleepy Joe also declared that he wanted to test his skills and stamina against mine on the golf course. Can you believe this? Did you ever see him swing? He's like this. That's why this evening I am also, and this is in honor of you and everybody, it is 45,000 people. That's a lot of people. I'm also officially challenging Crooked Joe to an 18-hole golf match right here. On Doral Blue Monster, considered one of the greatest tournament golf courses anywhere in the world, one of the great courses of the world. It will be among the most watched sporting events in history, maybe bigger than the Ryder Cup or even the Masters. And I will even give Joe Biden 10 strokes aside. 10 strokes, that's a lot. That means 20 strokes in case you don't play golf. I will give him 10 strokes aside, and if he wins, I will give the charity of his choice, any charity that he wants, $1 million.
Look at that. We said
and
it
I'll
would
bet
be.
you he doesn't take the offer. I would bet because he's all talk.
We predicted it, Alex.
But what that match will do is prove that Joe is, in fact, all talk and no action. But on many things, not just golf. When pilots walk into the White House, he says he used to fly planes. He didn't. When truckers come in, he says he used to drive a truck. He didn't. When Jewish people are here, he always attended synagogues, he said. The Jewish people. He didn't attend a synagogue. Did he ever see a synagogue? He doesn't know what a synagogue is. When black people come, he spent his Sundays in black churches. All of it's false. All of it's fake. He's a fake. Unfortunately, he was like that in Afghanistan. He was like that with Russia, Ukraine, and he was like that on October 7th and the attack in Israel. He didn't know what he was doing. But whatever else can be said about crooked Joe Biden, you have to give him credit for one brilliant decision, probably the smartest decision he's ever made. He picked Kamala Harris as his vice president. No, it was brilliant because it was an insurance policy, maybe the best insurance policy I've ever seen, Marco. If Joe had picked someone even halfway competent, they would have bounced him from office years ago, but they can't because she's got to be their second choice. She has no choice and no chance. As vice president, Kamala Harris was given two jobs, two very important jobs, actually. First, she was put in charge of the U.S. border security and the border. And she never showed up. She's never gone. She never went there once. And the border's the worst border in the history of the world, not just in the number of years, the worst. We had the best border in history. She has the worst border in the history of the world. And then she was sent to Europe to deter Russia from attacking Ukraine. How did that work out? Not too good. Both times the result was a deadly failure. Since Kamala was made border czar, the Biden-Harris administration has lost track of an estimated 150,000 children, many of whom have undoubtedly been raped, trafficked, killed, or horribly abused. I think of it, 150,000 children are missing. They're gone. Nobody knows where they are. Many are not with us any longer. She's 100% for the Green New scam, supports banning the sale of gas-powered cars. Who wants to drive an electric car for the rest of your life? Does anybody? You don't want to drive for 45 minutes and then stop for 3 hours. Is that what you're saying? And wants the American energy industry totally shut down, starting with Pennsylvania fracking and Texas drilling. No drilling in Texas, no fracking in Pennsylvania. We just got a poll from Pennsylvania with 12 points up. That's a lot. Got a poll from Texas with 16 points up. And we have some great people from Texas here tonight. And as a senator, Kamala sided with socialist Bernie Sanders. He's a real socialist. He's serious, but not as bad as Biden turned out to be. Bernie's embarrassed by some of the things that Biden did because they push him around. It's the ultra-far left government takeover of the entire healthcare system. And I don't think Kamala Harris's California socialism is going to go down well with the people of Doral, the people of Miami, or the people of Florida. Because in Florida, we don't like socialism. We want our freedom, right? We want our freedom. And we have a lot of people, Marco, from Cuba, from Venezuela, from all over. And they don't want to hear about socialism or communism.
Love it. Great lines. Great energy. Great energy. Listen to this.
Thank you. Despite all the Democrat panic this week, the truth is it doesn't matter who they nominate because we are going to beat any one of them in thundering landslides. And this November is going to be amazing, going to be the most important election in the history of our country because our country's going down the tubes. That's a nice way of saying our country's not doing too well. We've never had anything like it. Our borders, our economy, the worst inflation ever. We have the politics on our side. We have the policies on our side that will make America great again, and they don't. They will only continue to destroy our nation. Our nation is being destroyed. Joe, Kamala, and the entire Democrat establishment have been caught red-handed in the thick of the biggest scandal and the biggest cover-up. It's a cover-up. That's what it is. And I said it when they hit this guy in the basement and then they cheated on the election. It's a cover-up. It's the biggest cover-up in political history. As you know, they are all co-conspirators in the sinister plot to defraud the American public about the cognitive abilities of the man in the Oval Office. Sometimes he's there, not there often. Laughing Kamala, Laffin apostrophe. Laughing Kamala was in on it. Crazy Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, is also very cognitively impaired. Have you watched her lately? She's not doing too well. She's not doing too well. I think she's worse than Joe. You want to know that? She was in on it. Crying Chuck Schumer. You ever see him cry? He cries when he wants. The phoniest crying I've ever seen. Crying Chuck Schumer was in on it. Every Democrat cabinet member was in on it. They all knew this guy was grossly incompetent, and every Democrat in the House and the Senate was in on it. It was a scam. The American people can never trust this group of liars ever again. They put our country at great risk and danger. That's why we are going to sweep them all out of office this November. I believe it'll be an election like no other. But the biggest problem for the radical left Democrats is that their candidates are very much, if you take a look, mentally deficient. Is that a nice statement? They are mentally deficient. I'm saying that because the other term is too tough. The biggest problem is that their policies are no good. Their policies are horrible. Americans want strong borders, not open borders. We want low taxes, not high taxes. You know, they want to increase your taxes 4 times by 4 times. We want a strong military, not a woke military. We don't have a woke. We have some woke generals at top, but they'll be gone so fast your head will spin. But we have a great military. Yeah. We have a military that defeated ISIS in 4 weeks once I got in. We want no inflation, not 30 or 50% inflation, which is what you had. Think of it. You were destroyed. People were destroyed with the inflation. I don't even order bacon anymore. You know, bacon's gone up like 5. I said, it's too expensive. I don't want it. I don't want it. No, it's gone up many times, right? Byron likes bacon. Bacon, I think maybe, how many stand up, Byron? Byron, how good is Byron?
Byron likes bacon.
They say it's gone up 4 times since 4 times. So we don't eat bacon anymore, right? No more. We want American energy independence, not all electric cars and the Green New Scam. It's the greatest scam. Above all, we want America first, not America last. They want America last. What they're doing to our country is not even believable. That's why Florida is going to defeat the radical left Democrat hoaxers and liars. And the election day, we are going to tell crooked Joe Biden, Joe, you've done a horrible job. You're fired. Get out, Joe. You're fired.
Yeah. Man, dude's got energy tonight. What a vibe. What a vibe Trump's got tonight. Wow. I think they're chanting, Joe's got to go.
You know, it's only 103 degrees out here.
Say, Joe's got to go?
So, you know, they built all these, they call them, sir, we have many water spots. I said, what about one for me? Do I have one? I don't have one, Marco. They gave water spots. Everybody has, they call it a water spot.
Oh,
where
no.
water comes out, you get. They don't have anything for me. I'm being drenched up here.
Here comes another Marco water joke.
Begin saving our country from every Biden disaster starting the moment I lift my hand from the Bible after taking the oath of office. We're going to do it on day one. On day one, we're going to do it. I will seal the border, stop the invasion. We have an invasion coming through our southern border. And by the way, you know who wants that? You know who wants that invasion stopped the most? Hispanic people, because they don't want their jobs taken. They don't want their homes taken. And you know who it affects the most is black people, because these people are coming in and taking jobs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. What they've done to our country is unbelievable. But we want to send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home where they belong. Remember, as I said, they come from prisons, they come from jails. All these countries are at record low numbers of crime. They're sending us their criminals from Caracas and Venezuela. Caracas, Venezuela. Next year we'll meet in Venezuela because it will be safe. Their crime has gone down 72% because they've sent all of their drug dealers, their criminals, and most of their prisoners into our country. But that's true with most countries. And if I were running one of the countries throughout the world, not just in South America, I would be doing exactly the same thing. I would have done it faster than they've done it. But our country is being destroyed. 2 weeks ago, it was revealed that Biden and Harris have allowed more than 50 radical Islamic terrorists, some of the worst in the world, by the way, to cross our border and remain at large in our country. And we have no idea where they are. They have no idea also where these terrorists are, but Joe and Kamala are simply carrying on with business as usual, holding fundraisers, taking afternoon naps. And as Joe says, I want to go to the beach today. The guy thinks he looks good in a bathing suit. Did you ever? No, somebody in his staff told him, you look great in a bathing suit. He can't lift the chair. You know, those chairs are meant for children and old people to lift. Old people and children. And he can't lift them. They weigh about 4 ounces. When I'm president, I promise you this, I will not rest until we have found these radical Islamic terrorists and throw them the hell out of our country. We're going to get them out of here. And we will not let them back in. So many people, very few were thrown out, but the ones that came back in during this Biden administration of open borders, who the hell wants open borders? How crazy is it? Under the Biden border disaster, other countries are emptying out their prisons and their jails. They're emptying out their mental institutions. And I go a step further. You know what an insane asylum is, right? Did anyone ever see the lovely movie Silence of the Lambs? Did you see it? Did you ever hear of Hannibal Lecter? He was a lovely man. He would love to have you for dinner. He will take you. You had many people for dinner. Well, we have a lot of people coming in. They always say, oh, that's terrible, that Trump would say. He is rambling about Hannibal Lecter. No, I'm not rambling. We are allowing people from insane asylums and mental institutions into our country by the tens of thousands. And they're closing them down in other countries. Because, you know, the cost savings and all of the savings, and sending bloodthirsty terrorists, savage gang members, and child predators into the United States to prey on our people, to prey on you, to prey on everybody. They're coming not only from South America, but from all over the world, from Asia, Africa, and every other place. They're coming from all over the world. 2 weeks ago, I spoke to the grieving mother, Jocelyn Nungari, a precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who is tied up, stripped, assaulted, raped, strangled to death after walking the block to a 7-Eleven store on the corner. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder. Beautiful, beautiful girl. The mother is devastated. Pretty much, I would say over. The mother, I don't know. I spoke to the mother. Mother is just as you would be, as anybody would be. But charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens who Joe Biden set loose into our country. He let them loose, and they knew who they were. They came across our border claiming they feared for their lives. No, other people feared for their lives when they saw these 2 guys. They didn't fear at all. They had no fear. They're tough people. And Joe Biden and his group of people let them in. We're going to bring back, by the way, we're bringing back Tom Homan. We're bringing back all of the guys that did such a great job on the border. We had the greatest border in history. Brandon, Judd, great people. These are great people. One of them was in the country for only 20 days before ending Jocelyn's beautiful American life, and recently in Virginia at Trump National Golf Club in the Potomac River, I had lunch with the mother of and the sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old beautiful mother of 5 who was attacked, raped, and brutally murdered while out on a run. She was running. She always wanted to keep herself in good shape, her mother told me. She was a beautiful person. Police believe the sadistic monster charged with Rachel's death first killed another woman in another country, then fled across Joe Biden's wide-open border into the United States, after which he attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in Maryland. When I return to the White House, we will stop the plunder, rape, slaughter, and destruction of our American suburbs and cities and towns. We're going to stop it. We will shut down deadly sanctuary cities. I will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. We will close up our border, and we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. And on day one, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. We have no choice. And as I say, and I say it all the time, and I already said it to you, no one has been hurt more by the Biden invasion than our great African American and Hispanic American populations. Under Crooked Joe, 109% of all net job creation over the last year has gone to migrants. Did you know that? Almost every job that was created has gone to migrants. In fact, more than every job. It's crushing wages for American workers, draining resources for American citizens, and stealing American jobs. And they are stealing them at levels that nobody's ever seen before. Joe Biden wants to be the president for illegal aliens, but I will be the president for law-abiding Americans of every background, every walk of life, and every race, religion, color, and creed. Joe Biden's job numbers are fake. They're fake numbers, and the fake media knows it, but they don't look at all of them back there. Oh, that's a lot, Marco. That's a lot, Marco. I think they probably think I'm going to be announcing that Marco is going to be vice president. I don't know.
Whoa.
Because that's a lot of press. That's a lot of press.
Whoa.
They're also overwhelmingly part-time jobs, which really means that they're second jobs of people who are struggling to get by. They're being taken by the illegal migrants that are coming into our country in these record numbers. We've never seen anything. It is indeed an invasion. When I return to the White House, I will once again be the greatest jobs president that God has ever created. And like we had 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, we will have full-time jobs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. We had the greatest economy in the history of the planet. Well-paying jobs and jobs that can support a home and a family very, very easily. We had it all. As everyone knows, the Biden economy is a nightmare for working families under Crooked Joe. Inflation, price hikes, and they've cost, listen to this, $28,000. $28,000. And you know, under Trump, you made $14,000. That's a big swing. Under Biden and Harris, half of Americans are not taking a vacation at all this summer because they can't afford to do it. Most say it's because the cost of daily life is so high, no matter what they make, they can't. Because, you know, they like to say 20%, 29%, 26%, 31%. I think your inflation, your real inflation, is way over 50%, and I believe that. Meanwhile, Crooked Joe has spent almost 50% of his presidency on vacation. Almost all of it, including many, many weeks on the beach. And mansions are in, think of this. Here's a guy that's been a politician all his life. He's got homes in the Virgin Islands, Nantucket, Lake Tahoe, Kiowa Island. I mean, where the hell did they get all this money, Byron? He's got more homes than I do. What the hell is going on with him? And that home he's got in Delaware is pretty nice, right? But remember, they said it was his son's home. You know, his son is running it, right? You know that, right? You know that. He's running our government. And Jill is helping. Jill is helping. Where's Hunter? Remember the sign? Where's Hunter? Where's Hunter? He's in the White House. Hunter is in the White House running government right now, they say. That's interesting. No wonder Joe doesn't want to give up the job. His own staff says that the only hours he works are 10 a.m. to 4. Does anybody here have a job like that? Raise your hand, please. And I doubt he even spends that. And today he's with the people from NATO. And these people are sharp. I know them very well, every one of them. They're very smart. They're at the top of their game. And they're saying, what the hell is with this guy? We can't figure it out. You know, I saved NATO because when I went down, hey, Barack Hussein Obama, has anyone ever heard of him? He would go and, you know, go to wherever they're holding the NATO meeting and he'd make a nice speech and he'd leave. And Bush would go and make a nice speech and he would leave, in all fairness. Bush, oh yeah. But he'd make a nice speech and he'd leave. They'd all go make speeches and they'd leave. They wouldn't even stay there a day. I went and didn't make a nice speech. I said, what the hell are you doing? Nobody's paying. Nobody was paying. But I didn't want to be obnoxious because I felt, you know, it's the first time I'd ever done this. I went. I didn't even know what the hell NATO was too much before, but it didn't take me long to figure it out, like about 2 minutes. And the first thing I figured out was they weren't paying. We were paying. We were paying almost fully for NATO. And I said, that's unfair, but I didn't want to make a big mess. You know, I was president for about 15 minutes, and I didn't want to, you know, go after NATO as my first thing. But 6 months later, I went back to the second meeting, and I said, you know what? You're not paying your bills. You got to pay your bills. Somebody stood up from one of the countries, 28 countries, and only 7 were paying what they should be paying. 28 countries, think of that. And these countries, now we added a couple, but 28 countries. And they said, sir, could I ask you, I said, you have to pay your bills. They said, sir, may I ask you a question? If we don't pay our bills, will you protect us from Russia? I said, you mean you're delinquent? They said, yes, we're delinquent. Let's say we're delinquent. Would you protect us? I said, no, I will not protect you from Russia. The money came in by the billions. It came in. There's never been, right? There has never been. Where's Waltz? Where's Congressman Waltz? Am I correct, Mr. Guy? This guy loves the military. He gets sick when he looks at what we're doing, but he loves it. Is that right? I got billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars came pouring in because he said, oh, this guy's a little different than the other guys. But Joe Biden is a part-time president while you are working overtime to get by. He's a part-time president. He doesn't work. Well, he can't work because he's mentally no good. He's shot. But he was shot 25 years ago. You know, he was never a smart person. In fact, Ted Kennedy was actually a friend of mine. Can you believe it? Because of Palm Beach. He lived in Palm Beach. The Kennedy compound, for those that think the Kennedys are struggling, they had the Kennedy compound, but I did him a favor, and he liked me, and I was very good to him, actually. And I said to him, Ted, let me ask you a question. Who's the smartest senator? Tell me. And he gave me a name, but I won't say it because I can't stand the guy, okay? I'll tell you later, Marco, who he said. It wasn't you because you weren't there yet, so it can't be. But I said, who's the smartest? He gave me a name. I said, so who's the dumbest? He goes, probably Joe. This is like 20 years ago, 20-something years ago. Probably Joe. I said, who's Joe? He said, Joe Biden. I said, really? He's a dumb guy? Yeah, he didn't understand policy. He didn't understand tax. He didn't understand anything. He's hale and hearty and well-met. And outside of his really bad hair, he's, you know, sort of a good-looking guy at the time, right? I think the facelift did not help him. No, he said, I'm going to get myself a facelift. I'm going to give it one more try. You know, he tried it 3 or 4 times. Didn't work. He tried it 3 or 4 times, then he said, I'm going to look great. I'm going to get a facelift. You know what took him so long to get into the race? The facelift didn't work. Under my leadership, we will make America affordable again so that every American family can afford to take a thing called a vacation. Isn't that nice? And on day one, we will throw out Bidenomics and replace it with a thing called MAGA-nomics. We will quickly build the greatest economy in the history of the world. I will repeal every disastrous Biden regulation, of which there are many. Cancel Crooked Joe's insane electric vehicle mandate. How stupid. And we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill like we never drilled before. We were energy independent 4 years ago. Think of it. We're going to be energy dominant within months.
Are you back or what are you doing?
I will deliver large tax cuts, larger than you even have now. Do you know, I tell the story to people. It's hard to believe. I reduced taxes, the largest tax cuts in the history of our country. I reduced them bigger than the Reagan tax cuts many years ago. And with a lower rate, the following year, we took in much more tax money. Think of it. So we're getting much less. That meant for small businesses, large businesses, because that's what the job creators are. For middle-income people, low-income people, everybody. And he wants to let that expire. And if you do, your taxes are going to go up about 4 times to 5 times more. How would you feel if they raise your taxes by 4 or 5 times? Not 2. And remember that when you're going into the voting booth, do I want to have a terrible president who has no idea where the hell he is? And less importantly, do I want to pay 4 times more tax? And remember, what I'm going to do is something that nobody has ever even thought about doing. No tax on tips. For all of you waitresses, for all of you caddies at Doral. You know, I came to Doral, and there were some caddies at the shack. We call it Caddy Shack. It's the most beautiful caddy shack I've ever seen. We have the world's most beautiful. They sit down and watch television. And I never had this before. They were out for a round. They're very sweaty, very, very sweaty guys. You know, look, they're carrying bags all over the place. Not easy. It's 100 degrees out today, 103, 104. And they saw me, and they gave me the biggest hug. I said, get the hell out of here. You're soaking wet. I said, why do you like me so much today, but in the past you never touched me and kissed me and hugged me? It's very simple, sir. No tax on tips. Thank you very much. So for caddies, for waitresses, it's tremendous. And it's a very complicated thing, frankly, for the government to collect. But they've issued new rules and regulations that make it very bad for people. The reason I thought of this, I was in Nevada, where we're leading, by the way, a lot. We're up by like 14 points in Nevada. That's supposed to be a little bit Democrat territory, but we're leading in Nevada. And a waitress came over, beautiful waitress, and I never like talking about physics because she's beautiful inside.
It was 99-cent delivery.
You never talk about a person's look, ever. You never mention it. The other day, I got very angry. Some man called Chris Christie fat. And I said, sir, and then he said he was a pig. I said, sir, Chris Christie is not a fat pig. Please remember that. He is not a fat pig. Please take it back. And the guy's looking at me like, really? No, we have to defend people. You can't call people fat. So I said about 9 times, he is not a fat pig. So every time you leave a tip for the next 4 months, because it's going to go into effect very quickly, make sure that you write on the receipt, vote Trump for no tax on trips. No tax on tips. That's a good one. No, but the waitress said, I said, how are you doing? She said, worked there a long time, great person, beautiful person. And she said, oh, it's brutal with the government, what they do to us. It's crazy. They come, you know, they put on 88,000 people to go and take advantage of people like that. And she said, it's brutal. I said, you know, I have a great idea. How about no tax on tips? That was the extent of my study. One waitress. But it's true. It made so much. Isn't it funny that nobody ever thought of that but me? Isn't that weird? But it's a great thing, and they deserve their money. They work hard for it. They deserve it. They deserve it. Marco, you're going to vote for it, I hope? Well, you may or may not be there to vote for it.
Dude, he keeps throwing in Marco. I think Marco's going to be the first VP, bro.
No, he's not. I'm not voting for Trump if he
They
is.
know that we are the only ones who can stop them. That's why
I
they
ain't
are
voting for Rubio.
weaponizing law enforcement against their opponents. They are turning America into communist Cuba or socialist Venezuela. By the way, Venezuela is much more than socialist by now.
Rubio's
Right?
the exact same as
Who's here from Venezuela?
like
I was gonna
Who's
say
here from
Pence.
Cuba?
No, dude. He's a fucking backstabbing singer.
You know, I had it
So
all
was
done with
Rubio
you.
would be
They
too.
didn't rig the election within
Rubio
6
would do the
months, we
exact
could have
same.
that all worked
I
out.
don't
They
even
were
know,
ready.
man.
Then Biden came
Tucker
in.
Carlson.
Right? Then
That's what
Biden
Yeah.
came in. He
Yeah.
opened it up. It's a disgrace. Trying to silence dissent and put their political adversaries behind bars. He wants to put me behind bars. My parents are looking down saying this was not planned when he went to the Wharton School of Finance. The great Alphonse Capone. You know Alphonse. You're a very nice gentleman. Very fine man. Scarface, they call him in some territory. Here's a scar from here to here. He didn't get it by playing tiddlywinks either. No, he was a guy that, see this man right up here is a very tough guy. I know him. He's tough as hell. If he ever had dinner with Al Capone and Al Capone didn't like him, he'd look at him and say, "Are you mocking me?" And this guy would go, "No, I promise I'm not." But if Alphonse didn't like you, you'd never see him again, darling. Your husband would never be home again. He'd right now be a part of a foundation of a very tall building. But Al Capone got indicted less than I did. Think of it. Alphonse Capone. My parents would look down. They were so great. They're saying, how did this ever happen to my son? But you know what? We're finding out, and everybody knew, and I've been saying it's a total fraud. It was election interference. That's all it was. All Biden. They're all Biden indictments, the local ones, the state ones. They're all Biden indictments. He's a bad guy. And he's unleashed a horrible thing on this country. He's really done. Wouldn't you say, Byron? He has unleashed a horrible thing because, you know, that can happen the other way around, too. But the Supreme Court came out with an incredible decision this week, and I have great respect for the courage that they've shown. Great respect for the courage that they've shown. They have great intellect and great insight, incredible insight. They got it. They saw what was happening, not only with me, but with other people, what they did with the Fisher verdict. You know the Fisher verdict, right? That has to do with the J6 people. They had great decisions this last week. Decisions on regulations that are going to free up businesses and allow businesses to hire people and thrive. All of their persecution is only happening because I am running for president and leading very big in every single poll. And we're not just leading against crooked Joe Biden, we're leading against Kamala, and we're leading against everybody else. And our senators and our congressmen are coming in with us. We're going to have a big day, most important day. The radical left Democrats have spent this entire election posing as defenders of democracy. You ever hear Biden? He's a threat to democracy. He doesn't even know what the hell the term is. Trump is a threat to democracy. This guy. Low IQ. He's a low IQ individual. But they're lying in the entire world of Joe Biden's condition. I mean, you see his condition. You see them frantically trying to overturn the results of 50 state primaries and install a new candidate at the behest of their very rich donors. Do you know that we took in record numbers over the last 4 weeks, and most of it was taken in with small donors, $61 on average, $61. And those people vote. But the Democrats, I think that their funding is stopping because I think they're rich donors. They have a lot of rich donors. We have some, but we don't really focus on it. We focus on the small donor. To me, one thing, every small donor votes. The rich donors, they're in Monte Carlo during the election. You know, how's the election going? Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He is a major threat to democracy, and Democrats are the ones who really want to destroy democracy and our country. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. And every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. I do. Because I'm being indicted for you. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's as simple as that. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun being indicted. Thank you. I didn't know. What does it mean to be indicted? Thank you. want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way, and I always will be standing in their way. We're not going to let happen to our country what's happened to so many countries that many of you people were very much involved in through your parents and grandparents. You know what happened to so many of those countries. We're thrilled to be joined tonight by many fantastic Florida patriots, including a man who's become really a friend of mine. We had a vicious campaign for a while, and he was tough and he was smart. And I got to really know him well over the years, and he's a fantastic guy, Senator Marco Rubio. Marco? Thank you, Marco.
I'm telling you, Will. I'm telling you. All right, dude.
And you have a great tandem because you have another great senator who was a great governor, fantastic governor, Senator Rick Scott. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. Thank you, Rick. We have a lot of congressmen. Let's introduce it. What the hell else do we have to do, right? Should we introduce? And by the way, at the end, do you want the music or do you want no music? Music, ready? Music or no music, ready? Who wants the music? Who wants a little bit quicker, no music? I think we have music tonight. Get the music ready.
Get the music ready.
Get the music ready. We have some incredible talent.
Here come my copyright.
Warriors, representatives. Corey Mills. Corey, thank you. Thank you, Corey. Great guy. Brian Mast. We love Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Was it graduation
Mike
or something?
Waltz. Thank you, Mike. Doing great. A man I'm not going to get into a fight with him anytime soon. Byron Donalds, who's fantastic.
He's calling them all
out. By
out.
the way, is a true expert on education. I say, stay ready. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. Thank you, Donna, for being here. Appreciate it. Great, great person. Maria Salazar. Thank you, Maria. Great. Thank you very much. Carlos Jimenez. Carlos. Good man.
What?
Mario Diaz-Balart. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. You have a fantastic lieutenant governor who's here, Jeanette Nunes. Jeanette, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you. And Florida State Senators Debbie Mayfield. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you very much. Ileana Garcia. Thank you. Ana Maria Rodriguez. Thank you. Great people. State Representatives Jessica Baker. Randy Fine. Where's Randy Fine? Good. Thanks, Randy. Kevin Steele, Paula Stark, Juan Carlos Porras, Alina Garcia, David Barrero, Fabian Pasebe. Fabian, thank you. Tom Fabricio. Thank you, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Vicky Lopez. A very good guy, fantastic person, great politician, frankly, but he loves the state. Incoming Speaker of the Florida House, Danny Perez. Thank you, Danny. Good job. Good luck, Danny. That should be an easy job. Good luck. And Alex Rizzo. Thank you, Alex, very much. A person who I know personally does a fantastic job as the mayor of Doral, Christy Fraga. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Great job. Appreciate it. Vice Mayor Oscar Pugue Carvey. Oscar, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Oscar. Councilwoman Digna Cabral. Thank you, Digna. Thank you very much. Sweetwater Mayor Jose Pepe Diaz. I've known him a long time. Pepe. Weston Mayor Margaret Brown. Thank you, Margaret. Well, we got a lot of politics. You have no idea I'm introducing about 25%. We did it by the luck of the draw. Miami-Dade County Commissioners Kevin Cabrera and J.C. Bermudez. J.C., thank you. Great people, great politicians, but good politicians. The next Miami-Dade County Sheriff, Rosie Cordero Stutz. Thank you, Rosie. Good luck. She has my endorsement. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Ambassador Carlos Trujillo. Carlos Trujillo. Thank you, Carlos. Great job you're doing. A friend of all of ours, and this woman is amazing. Laura Loomer. Where is she? Where's Laura? She is amazing. Felix Lasarte. Felix. Where is Felix? My lawyer. He's my lawyer. How am I doing? Am I getting the damn zoning done, Felix? He's doing a great job. And my sons, and we have one of my sons, this is the first time he's ever done it. First of all, one you know, and he's an incredible guy. He's very tough. He's very, very strong, great speaker, great talent. Donald Trump Jr. And another son who's here tonight. I love when my sons and family come, you know, it's really nice. Somebody who's fantastic, works so hard, so smart, has a great wife, as does Don. Oh, you like Laura, right? Let's get off Eric and let's talk about Laura. Laura's only the head of the Republican Party. She's upwardly mobile. She's upwardly mobile. But a man who's done an incredible job at the company, and I think there has never been a human being that's had more subpoenas. Every day, Congress would serve a subpoena on him, and he has done some job, I'll tell you. Eric Trump. Thank you. Great job. And a very young man. This is a young man. He just turned 18. Oh, look at this. A very young man who's now going to college, got into every college he wanted to, and he made his choice. And he's a very good guy, I'll tell you. You know, I'm not allowed to call them boy, but he is my boy. He's my boy. They're all my boys, right? When you have sons, they can be any age. They're your boy. They're always going to be. And he's a very special guy. Barron Trump. This is the first time he's ever done this. Barron. Where is Barron? Stand up. Look at him.
Dude, Betty Johnson's weird. Are you still watching him?
That's the first time he's done it.
He's like, put the camera on Barron.
Hey, you're pretty popular. He might be more popular than Don and Eric. We got to talk about this. Hey, Don, we got to talk about this, huh? All right. So, Barron, it's good to have you. Welcome to the scene, Barron. I don't know. He had such a nice, easy life. Now it's a little bit changed. Anyway, a special guy, right? Also, some grandchildren who are very talented. Two of them are great golfers, really great golfers. You all know about Kai. Where's Kai? Kai. And a real little killer. She hits a long ball. For her size, she can barely lift the club until she swings. Her swing is perfect. Chloe. And Don Jr. is here somewhere, I think. Vanessa is here. Oh, there he is. Good. Hi, Don. What a good group. Vanessa Trump, stand up. Thanks. Thank you, Don Jr. That's good. Don the Third, and also a real friend of the family. She's been friendly. You know, she started off on The Five years ago, and she made that show very successful. She was the star of that show, actually. And she was always good to me a long time, long before I knew her in this capacity. And she was really a big star on television, very, very big. The Five, when it was just in its infancy and it was hot as it could be. Kimberly Guilfoyle. Thank you, Kimberly. And she hasn't stopped. So thank you all for being here. And I know I didn't introduce many congressmen and likes of others, but I think we have to get back to the business at hand. Is it too hot for anybody? No, not bad. Once you get used to the fact that you're soaking wet, from the moment we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden, I believe we are going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we, all of us together, win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled, and I will prevent our nation, and we will prevent the whole world from entering World War III, because that's where we are. We're very close to World War III, and Biden doesn't have a clue. We should have never allowed, if you think about it, Russia, Ukraine would have never happened. October 7th, the attack on Israel would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened. Think of our country if the election wasn't rigged. Think of it. Think where we'd be if they didn't rig that election. So we're not going to let it happen again, because our country won't exist. It would be I believe it would be the last election we've ever had if anything happened. I really believe it. We're not going to let that happen. You got to get out and vote. If I was president, though, and think of it, Afghanistan, one of the most embarrassing moments in the history of our country, would also never have happened. It would have never happened. You know, Ukraine, when you think Ukraine, I had a very good relationship with Putin. We talk about it. It was the apple of his eye. Would have never happened. I told him, can't do it. You're not going to do it. October 7th, the attack on Israel, I knew it so well. They had no money because the purveyor of funds was Iran, and Iran was broke. They had all sorts of sanctions. Nobody could buy. China couldn't buy. China was a massive buyer of oil from Iran. I said, if you buy from Iran, you can't do business in the United States. And they did very well in the United States. And they didn't buy nobody, but Iran was broke. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. And we had no terror. You know, I always wanted to talk about it when I was president. I was 3.5 years in. I said, I want to just brag a little bit. I want to say that we had no terror. There were no terror attacks in 4 years, but I wanted to brag about it. But I wanted to wait till I got out, and now I brag about it all the time. We had very few terrorists allowed into our country. We had a year 20 where the charts come out, how many terrorists enter the country. Now, I think they're wrong because I can't believe it, but they actually had no terrorists. 0 terrorists came in 2019. That was a Trump year. Now we have thousands and thousands of terrorists pouring into our country from all over the world, and they're the worst terrorists in the world. They're the biggest and the worst, and we got them living in our country. They actually put down 2019, Trump, no terrorists, 0. I don't believe that, but that's what they have, and that was done by Border Patrol and others, State Department. I'll take it. I don't believe it, but it was very close to nothing. And they actually have 0 terrorists came into our country. We were tough on it. And we would not have Russian warships and nuclear submarines surrounding Cuba 60 miles off our coast. You know that, right? For all of you people in Cuba, congratulations. You're now being protected by Russia. Congratulations. Can you imagine that the press, the fake news, those people, they don't even talk about it. We have nuclear submarines and 5 warships in Cuba, and they don't even talk about it. If that happened to me as president, it would be the biggest story every single day. But they don't talk about it because they're fake and corrupt news. When I was in the White House, I canceled Barack Hussein Obama's deal with the Cuban dictatorship and reimposed tough sanctions on that regime. They were ready to break. They were all set, and then we had the election taken away, robbed, rigged. Joe Biden has gone weak and soft on Cuban communists, as you know better than anybody, so many of you here. And he's abandoned the brave Cuban dissidents while the Cuban people are suffering, starving, and dying in Cuba. Would have been all solved very quickly. As president, I will again stand with the people of Cuba in their long quest for justice, liberty, and freedom. In my next term, we will build a great iron dome over our country, a dome like has never been seen before, a state-of-the-art missile defense shield that will be entirely made in the USA, right here in your state, right here in Florida. We'll build a big section. You have a lot of defense. We moved a lot of companies into Florida for defense purposes. I will not cut one penny from Social Security or Medicare, and I will not raise the retirement age by 1 day. Biden is going to do that because he's allowing these people that come in to go on to Social Security and Medicare, to go into the hospitals. And, you know, we want to be nice. But no country can sustain this. No country can sustain it. I kept that promise for 4 straight years, and I will keep it again. We have plenty of other resources. We're not going to touch Social Security or Medicare. If the millions of Biden migrants became citizens, Medicare and Social Security will be gone. They'll be gone. They'll be gone. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., and clean it up, renovate it, and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it will become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world. Right now, if you leave Florida, oh, let's go, darling. Let's look at the Jefferson Memorial. Let's look at the Washington Monument. Let's go and look at some of the beautiful scenes, and you end up getting shot, mugged, raped. We're going to take over our capital, and we're going to run it tough and smart, and we're going to beautify it. We're going to get all the graffiti off the marble. We're going to fix the roads and the medians, which are falling down all over the streets. We're going to make our capital beautiful again. We're going to do the same thing with our cities, even though Democrat run. We're going to work with Democrat governors and mayors if we have to. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports. Can you imagine? Can you imagine even having to say that? I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech in our country. And I will secure our elections once and for all. Our goal will be 1 day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. Very simple. But until then, Republicans must win. You must get out and vote. We want a landslide, and let's call it this: too big to rig. Too big to rig. Thank you. Look at all the front row Joes. Oh, wow. Wow, they've been to like 200 rallies. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you. Great. It's a great honor. These are real patriots. They make a lot of money, I guess, because they're at every rally. I go to California, I have a rally, I have the front row Joes there. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration has done. Think of it. I used to say 5, remember? 6 months ago, I'd say 5 worse. I added 10. I could go higher than that. There's nobody that's done destruction to our country. And now we find out he probably doesn't even know he did it, okay? Joe, why did you do it? I did what did I do? So if you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. You got to vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day, vote anytime you want, but vote and follow your vote. Make sure that it gets counted. You can do that. Follow that vote, because these people cheat like nobody's ever cheated before. Frankly, they're no good at policy, but they're good at cheating. And if you want to help us ensure election integrity, sign up at protectthevote.com. So in conclusion, from Jacksonville to Miami, from Tampa to Tallahassee, from the beautiful place that I know very well, destined to right here in Doral. We inherit the legacy of generations of American patriots who gave their blood, sweat, and tears to defend our country and our freedom. We stand on the shoulders of American heroes who crossed the ocean, settled the continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, raised up those great, beautiful skyscrapers, won 2 world wars, and from right here in this beautiful state, launched our brave American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the face of the moon. Together, they made America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are skyrocketing. Likewise, we are a nation where energy costs have reached the highest levels in our history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant as we were just a few short years ago. We are a nation that is begging.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm making this into a song.
Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. And yet we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country anywhere in the world. We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will be reducing their oil production while at the same time substantially increasing the price. And we met that threat by announcing that we will no longer be drilling for oil in large areas of Alaska and elsewhere in our precious land. We are a nation that is considered and consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal, yet everyone knows that the Green New scam is fake and will lead only to our destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all electric cars, despite the fact that they don't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when an unlimited amount of gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States, but not available in China. And now we are a nation that wants to make our revered and very powerful army tanks, the best in the world, all electric, so that despite the fact that they are also not able to go far, fewer pollutants will be released into the air as we blast our way through enemy territory in an environmentally friendly way. And they also want to make our great jet fighters with a green stamp of energy savings, though losing 15% efficiency, but allowing us to keep our enemy's atmosphere clean of emissions as we viciously and unceremoniously attack them at levels never seen before. Who are these people? Who are these fools that would do this to us? Who are these people who would ruin our country? We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the United States, just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. What other country would do such a stupid thing, a foolish thing, and self-destruct itself just like we've done for 4 years? Can we be energy independent and even energy dominant again? Yes, oh yes, and quickly, says President Trump. Yes, oh yes, and we will do it quickly. We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving dead soldiers, American citizens and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. We left it behind. And also abandoning Bagram, one of the biggest military bases anywhere in the world, and only 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. And we are a nation that allowed Russia, Ukraine to fight, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your president, and for 4 straight years, it didn't happen. Likewise, the horrifying attack on Israel would have never happened. They wouldn't even have thought of doing such a thing if President Trump was in the Oval Office. Iran was broke under the Trump administration. They didn't have the money to fund Hamas, Hezbollah, and all of the other instruments of terror that they use. But those sanctions were lifted by a corrupt Biden administration. And now Iran is a rich country with $250 billion. Think of that. Iran now has, from nothing, they were broke. They now have $250 billion. $6 billion they also got for hostages. $6 billion. And for electricity to Iraq, they were given $10 billion, all compliments of an incompetent Biden administration. And China with Taiwan is next. We are a nation that allows radical left terrorists to violently attack our cities, leaving behind massive destruction and death, and nothing happens to the criminals that do these terrible things. There is no punishment. But when people who love our country protest on January 6th in Washington, they become hostages, unfairly imprisoned for long periods of time. But fortunately, the Supreme Court has just ruled, and they should be out soon. We are a third world nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never seen before in our country. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and to say it was fact. Where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, and the FBI knew it wasn't. But 51 intelligence agents said it was, and a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt, totally incompetent, and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, and is a president who is not legally allowed to stand trial because he is mentally incompetent, but he is allowed to become the president of the United States again, and he is in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and China and all of these countries on possible nuclear war. He has no clue what he's doing or where he is, and next will be World War III, because he doesn't know what he's doing. And this will be a war more devastating than any of the other wars. It will be a war like no other because of the weaponry that no one wants to even think about or ever talk about. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are indeed the enemy of the people. They refuse to discuss the Biden crime family, but enjoy covering the false indictments of Donald J. Trump, who has done nothing wrong except win an election against crooked Hillary Clinton. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed and where crime is rampant and out of control like never before. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And less than 4 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, all in check. They respected us. They were afraid of us. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. Now Russia and China are holding summits to carve up the rest of the world. And perhaps most importantly, We are a nation that is no longer admired, respected, or listened to on the world stage. They just aren't. We are a nation, in fact, that in many ways has become a joke. And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, faith, and even to God. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool of ruin, and whose supply chain is broken, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the very bottom of every single list. We are a nation that just sold a once great company, United States Steel, to Japan. We are a nation whose stock market's continued success is continued and contingent on MAGA winning the next election. If MAGA doesn't win the next election, you will have a 1929 type depression. We're a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them, beat up and kill their workers and customers, and leave with armloads of goods, but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words law enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and all other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than groceries to feed our beautiful families and babies. We have become a drug-infested, crime-ridden nation which is incapable of solving even the simplest of problems. We will institute the powerful death penalty for drug dealers, where each dealer is responsible for the death during their lives of 500 people or more. Mothers will never again be forced to watch their children overdosing and hospitaling. And we will never allow mothers to watch their child hopelessly dying in their arms, screaming, "What can I do? What can I do? Help me, God, what can I do?" We are a nation whose once revered airports are a dirty, crowded mess. You sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the plane won't leave, that they have no idea when they will, where ticket prices have tripled. They don't have the pilots to fly the planes. They don't see qualified air traffic controllers, and they just don't know what the hell they're doing. We are a nation that screens its citizens viciously at all ports, but if you are an illegal alien, you are allowed to flow through by the millions and millions right over our southern border. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, lost its willpower, and lost its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. With the right leadership, every disaster Joe Biden has created can be fixed, and quickly. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong can be rectified, and it will be rectified very quickly. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Inflation will be in full retreat. Our economy will be at a level that will equal and even surpass what it was 4 years ago. Optimism will be surging. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past. And our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the one shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States.
Yo, this is like the most badass fucking speech
November
ever.
5th to be the most important day in the history of America. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Florida. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miami.
Speak. Now we have to capture something. We gotta talk about one thing. He definitely loves to share his beliefs, and a lot of people have their beliefs and questions about the legitimacy of the 2020 election. We here at Newsmax, we have to abide by what has been proven in court. Now we all understand that lawfare, it's a pretty dangerous thing what they're doing to President Trump. It's lawfare. The last thing any of us needs is them coming after any of us or Newsmax for trying to say something that, again, has not been proven in court. So with that said, we have to abide by how everything played out. And I honestly think there's a silver lining to that, because I think that it's waking up massive amounts of people to understand exactly what's been wrong with this Democrat Party and their agenda that we've seen playing out over these last few years. So joining me now is going to talk about the rally a little bit is the host of the Leventhal Report, Rick Leventhal himself. Rick, my brother, thank you for sticking around with me. I was on your show at the end. We just got to watch President Donald J. Trump light it up. What are your thoughts? I got a whole bunch of them and a whole bunch of notes, but I want to ask you first. What are your thoughts on tonight's rally?
First of all, I love that you have Trump's dance moves down, David. You nailed it. That's awesome.
I was a dancer in high school, but that's another story.
He covered a lot of ground. He talked about how the Democrats can't decide which candidate is worse, Biden or Harris. He talked a lot about the border and about the problems there, about how they're emptying mental institutions and sending gang members and terrorists into America, and just how bad that situation is. And he reminded voters that he plans to deport illegals if and when he's elected president. He spent some time talking about how Hunter Biden and Jill Biden might actually be pulling the puppet strings in the White House and might actually be running the government. He said socialism doesn't work, and he talked about how he made NATO pay up. But my favorite part was near the beginning when, first of all, he came out and made fun of Biden's golf swing, and then he challenged President Biden to a golf tournament, an 18-hole golf match, and he said he would spot Biden 10 strokes aside, meaning 20 total strokes, and said if Biden somehow wins, that Trump would give $1 million to Biden's favorite charity, which he doesn't think.
Do you think that Joe Biden's going to accept?
he's less likely to accept that than he is to accept Trump's offer to have another debate that's no holds barred, where they can actually just go after each other. I mean, there's no way he's going to accept either one of them. But I think you nailed it at the top, David. The key point here is that this man can talk for 90 minutes. He can keep a crowd riveted for that long, and he can answer questions on the fly and knows how to handle himself. And he does present strength. And that's one thing that a lot of people have said the current White House does not do.
Yeah, the current White House doesn't project any amount of strength. I mean, just even after the debate, I think you've covered it. I've been covering it on my show after the debate, trying to save face. He did what? He did one sit-down interview with George Stephanopoulos, which did not help him at all, not one iota.
Right.
And then he went and did some interviews with some black radio show hosts, but he wasn't on camera. And then it came out on CNN that the radio show hosts were actually given the questions that they could then ask Joe Biden. How does that foster any amount of confidence in the cognitive and mental abilities of a man that's running for president of the United States when you can't even show up? Add to that the fact, I think this is still, I'm not sure why it's not a bigger story than it is, the fact that Joe Biden was found unable to be held accountable for the boxes of classified documents in his garage and everything else was because he was mentally incompetent. He was unfit. Yet this is the person that the Democrats are still propping and have been propping up to be the next president of the United States. Again, are you kidding me? Why isn't that wall-to-wall coverage?
Well, I talked about that on my show, the Hur report, where they said basically they couldn't convict him because a jury would find him to be a sympathetic old man who can't think straight. And the radio host in Philadelphia who asked him the pre-canned questions and then got fired because the station said she wasn't being independent, even though Biden knew the questions that were coming, he still managed to screw up a couple of answers, including calling himself the first black female vice president. So, I mean, the guy can't answer questions. He can't think on his feet. They could hear him shuffling papers, David, while he was on the phone with her. So clearly he had stuff, he had notes in front of him. And I mean, it's sad. And I hate to beat up on an old guy, but you know what? He's past his prime.
But he's putting himself in the position. Rick, he's put himself in the position. His family's put himself in the position. Jill's propping him up. Hunter's propping him up. Hunter doesn't want to face President Donald Trump being in office and maybe having to hold him accountable. Can you imagine if President Trump gets in office? Hopefully he does. Lord, we need a serious 180 in this country. The lawfare to which they've gone after President Trump, Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, the lawfare for which they've gone after all of them, and I think they're still trying to go after even more, to turn that around for President Trump to say, hey, you've created a precedent. Let's actually go and do some real investigations on some of the shady business dealings of the Bidens and of all the money that Hunter got from all these foreign countries while he was the son of a vice president and now president. I think that I'd love to see that. I don't know about you, but I'd absolutely love to see that.
Can you imagine, David, consider if Don Jr. or Eric Trump, who both spoke before Donald Trump at that rally, can you imagine if they had a laptop that was filled with the stuff that was on Hunter's laptop? Can you imagine the media, I don't know, avalanche that would come after him?
Oh, yeah.
They would crucify either one of those brothers. Yeah.
Wall to wall.
And meanwhile, Hunter, who's a convicted felon, and Biden likes to call Trump a convicted felon. Hunter's a convicted felon, and he's in the White House apparently advising his dad, the president.
Yeah, he's trying to make sure he don't wind up, I think, in handcuffs. And again, where'd the cocaine wind up? Where'd that come from in the White House? I've never heard of cocaine being found in the White House before, and you got Hunter in there walking around. We're supposed to just, that was all of a sudden Secret Service or somebody else in there? Come on, call a spade a spade.
What a coincidence.
Oil reserves. He's talking about oil reserves. People don't even understand the absolute detriment, the danger that this administration and the Democrat agenda is if they were to somehow get in the Oval Office, stay in the Oval Office throughout this next election. They're pinning us against a wall. Saudi Arabia wanting to raise oil prices, wanting to limit their export while we're not doing anything. The tanks they want to make out of electricity, so we're not spewing CO2 out into the air when we're in a time of war. I mean, all of it is just so backwards that I just, again, I hope Americans, I hope centrist Americans, independents, Democrats, sane Democrats, if you're watching and you're a Democrat, hey, you know what? We love all Americans. We're just on the side of common sense. And I think every single American understands that it is not common sense when it comes to this current administration or their agenda, and they're going to keep doing even more of it if they stay in power. What are your thoughts, Rick?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I think that Trump actually has a plan for America that will make this a better country. But for me, David, the most important thing is that open border. I am so upset about the way that this has been handled, about the thousands of people who are flowing in every single day, even since that executive order that Biden signed, thousands a day. And many of them are people we don't know truly who they are. We don't have reciprocity with a lot of the countries they're coming from in terms of fingerprints and background checks. So they can lie and give a fake name. They could be gang members or wanted for murder, as we now know some of them were in their home countries, come to America, get a free ride to a free hotel with free meals and even a debit card in some cases, and then they can go out and kill and rape and rob American citizens, and we can't do anything about it. Donald Trump is the only guy I've heard who actually says, I'm going to do something about it. And for me, that is the most important thing. Our border and stopping this flow of illegals, many of whom are criminals, into America. We have enough problems on our own. We don't need to take on all these extra ones.
And that's exactly what President Trump said from the very beginning, even from 2000.